Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Live at 4. Mark is basking on a beach somewhere. Charlotte DeLeste is filling in today. Thank you for your help.
Thank you for having me.
So
Beach doesn't sound that bad right now, does it?
No, especially with some snow on the way.
Right.
It might get to be a little messy. We'll get the details from Dana on that in just a little bit. But first, here's what's making news on this Tuesday. It was an extraordinary meeting playing out in the Oval Office, a showdown over the shutdown.
Governor Walker breaks his silence on what he is thinking about doing with the lame duck bills.
And in Lodi, how a homeowner is recreating scenes from holiday movies and the reaction that he is getting. That's coming up. But first, let's take a look outside today. All's quiet right now.
So far.
Right.
So far.
Oh, isn't that a beautiful shot?
That is pretty.
That was this morning from the morning show. The ice fishermen were already out on Brittingham Bay. Slippery morning ahead are the... Oh, that's an even better shot. Let's just...
I know, bask
savor
in that glow right now.
Let it breathe, as we say. But let's head out to Dana because some wintry weather is on the way. Dana?
Yes. I don't know if our ice fishing friends are going to be out tomorrow morning. It may just be a little too slippery outside, a little too dangerous on the ice, and even on the roads, as we do have some moisture coming in as we look ahead. Downtown right now, pretty calm for us. We do have a few clouds in the sky. Sunset, of course, just a few minutes away, but we aren't looking at any sort of light snowfall moving in just yet. That breeze coming from the east at about 9 miles per hour currently. On our Doppler track, things seem fairly mellow, but you can start to see that moisture brewing off to the west. It'll be knocking on our door as we head into tomorrow morning. Again, 28 currently in Madison is what we're picking up in-house, 34 towards Janesville and 32 in Monroe. It's cool outside, but we had another day that was fairly seasonal. And that's the trend for the next several days. A little cooler than yesterday, though, currently. About a 6-degree drop for us in Madison. Same spot, though, for Janesville and towards Mineral Point. Again, tonight, things will stay fairly calm for the next few hours as we do have a mellow sky currently. Temperatures will fall through the middle to low 20s over the next few hours. By the time we get closer to about midnight, though, we become mostly cloudy. And then we start to talk about the chance for some snow. Yes, light snowfall expected tomorrow morning, as well as some freezing drizzle. We'll talk about that in just a quick second. Right now on our roadways, overall seeing quite a bit of green for us in Dane County. Downtown a little slower than what we'd like to see at this time. But looking at the Beltline, 12 near Gammon Road, stretching through Mineral Point Road as well. Things are fairly smooth as far as your drive times. The Beltline westbound slowing down near Fish Hatchery Road, and then eastbound from Fish Hatchery Road all the way over towards John Nolan Drive. Those speeds down to about 25 miles per hour. So your drive this evening could take just a little longer if it does involve the Beltline. From University Avenue to Verona Road, though, just 7 minutes. And then from Verona Road to John Nolan, 6 minutes. You can see speeds down to about 40 miles per hour there. And then for the Beltline to Janesville, once you hop onto 39, should be cruising just fine. 27 minutes, and then 15 minutes from downtown up towards Sun Prairie. Not seeing any sort of delays in that direction. So yes, right now the roads are okay. Tomorrow morning, though, do plan on a slick morning commute as we're having some light snow early on in the day. An alert day in effect for tomorrow. We'll talk about that in just a few minutes.
Yeah, that's bad timing with the morning commute, but we'll hear more about that in a little bit. Dana, thank you.
First at 4, a meeting to build consensus between the president and congressional Democrats devolved into a clash at the White House.
President Trump is threatening a government shutdown if he doesn't get his border wall funding. Mo Lalengi has more from the White House.
President Trump's meeting with Democratic leaders spiraled quickly downhill as the press looked on.
I will shut down the government.
Okay,
absolutely.
fair enough.
And I am proud, and I'll tell you what,
disagree.
I am proud to shut down the government for border security, Chuck.
60 people of the Republican Party are losing their offices now because of the transition. People are not, the morale
And we've gained
is
in the
not
Senate.
up.
Nancy,
The
we've
morale
gained in the Senate. Excuse me, did we win the Senate?
is
We
not
won the
in
Senate.
When the president brags that he won North Dakota and Indiana, he's in real trouble.
I did.
Let me say this.
We did win
Let me say this.
North Dakota
This
and
is the
Indiana.
most unfortunate thing. We came in here in good faith, and we're entering into this kind of a discussion in the public view.
But it's not bad, Nancy.
No,
It's
but
called transparency.
I know, it's not transparency when we're not stipulating to a set of facts.
President Trump is insisting any spending bill must include funding for his border wall, or he'll shut down the government.
I hope that's not where we end up.
The Senate Majority Leader appeared to distance himself from the negotiations, even though some of his fellow Republicans praised the president's hardline stance.
Discussions continue about how to fund the government between the president and the Democrats. We'll be dealing with other matters here in the Senate.
Congress has until December 21st until funding for the government runs out. But Democrats say the president's insistence on a $5 billion border wall will kill any chances for a deal.
This temper tantrum that he seems to throw will not get him his wall, and it'll hurt a lot of people because he will cause a shutdown.
We have a Trump shutdown as a Christmas present, a holiday present to the American people.
A new Marist poll for NPR shows 65% of Republicans think the president should not compromise on the wall, even if it means a shutdown. Mola Lenghi, CBS News, the White House.
Despite the back and forth on border security, the president and Democratic leaders touted the progress of a bipartisan criminal justice reform bill, which could come up for a vote in the Senate soon.
President Trump is still looking for someone to replace his current chief of staff, John Kelly, who is stepping down from the post at the end of the year. The president said today there are plenty of candidates. The list now includes North Carolina Congressman Mark Meadows, former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie, Office of Management and Budget Director Mick Mulvaney, Deputy Campaign Manager Dave Bossie, and Acting Attorney General Matthew Whitaker. Meadows says he is honored to be considered for the post.
I have not spoken to the president in the last 48 hours, and so there's no update. Obviously, he's got a long list of people he's evaluating.
The new chief of staff will be the president's third in under 2 years. Scott Walker says the idea that the powers of his office are being weakened before he leaves is all hype.
The governor also says he's considering at least one line-item veto on the bills passed by Republicans in the lame duck session last week. Eric Franke's in the newsroom with more. Eric?
Susan and Charlotte, not many specifics on what items the governor may veto in this package of bills. But this press conference today that he held, along with a Facebook message earlier today, is the strongest indication yet that he is supporting most of what Republicans approved in this measure last week. Democrats, along with incoming Governor-elect Tony Evers, have urged the governor to veto the bills, saying it undermines the will of the people, takes away the governor's power, and consolidates power in the hands of Republicans who control the legislature. The governor, again, not specific on what he might veto, but he sounds like someone who supports the measures, telling people to read them, while he and his lawyers themselves try to figure out exactly what it all means.
No matter which of those three options I do, Tony Evers, come January 7th, will have some of the strongest powers of any governor in America, just as I do, just as any governor does in the state of Wisconsin. Not only does the governor in the state of Wisconsin have a right to veto legislation, we have one of the strongest line-item vetoes of any governor in America.
Now, on proposed changes to early voting, limiting it to 2 weeks before Election Day, the governor says he supports early voting, but simply wants it to be the same everywhere. He says that measure makes sense. The governor also expressing some dismay that the whole reason he called this extraordinary session a tax incentive plan to keep about 300 jobs with Kimberly-Clark in the Fox Valley, disappointed that that didn't even come up. He says he will do whatever he can from here to the end of his time in office to try to save those jobs. Charlotte, Susan?
Eric, thank you very much.
A jury recommended a life sentence for James Fields, who drove his car into a crowd of counter-protesters at last year's white nationalist rally in Charlottesville, Virginia. The same jury that convicted Fields of first-degree murder recommended a life sentence plus 419 years in prison. Charlottesville prosecutors said they hope the jury's decision will begin the healing process more than a year after Fields rammed his car into a group of counter-protesters at the rally. The crash killed 32-year-old Heather Heyer.
And hopefully, the outcome achieved today is Charlottesville's small part in rejecting and holding accountable those whose violent acts against others are fueled by hatred.
In the end, the hands of justice say that he needs to be kept away from society for a while, and I'm content with that. I will always, always, always have a hole in my heart.
The judge will review the jury's recommendation and hand down a final sentence in March. Fields still faces a federal trial for hate crimes. A holiday setup at a home in Lodi is going viral.
Mannequins set up in the front yard displaying scenes from popular Christmas movies are turning a lot of heads. Jamie Perez shows us the displays and the stories behind them. Jamie?
That's right. Well, the story is actually really interesting. Now, the homeowners that this display is at did not want to go on camera, unfortunately, but they did tell me over the phone that they did not expect this to get this huge, and they actually started it just because they thought it was funny. Now, let's see if you can recognize what these movies are from. Now, these are from A Christmas Story and A Christmas Vacation. The homeowners started this last year, but this year they actually added a trailer to the scene from A Christmas Vacation and then added a mannequin to show a scene from A Christmas Story. It has garnered a lot of attention online and a lot more traffic as people stop by to take a picture.
Last year it was just the mannequin, and a few days ago he hauled in, that was his dad's old camper, and put that. So now the scene is much more complete.
The homeowners told me over the phone that they're going to keep doing this every year with more details added each year to keep people coming by, but they wouldn't say exactly what they're planning on adding to it. Now, coming up tonight at 6, how the Lodi Police Department is actually using this to their advantage through social media. That's also an interesting part of the story. I'll have that for you coming up in a couple of hours.
Looking forward to it. Jamie, thank you.
They're raising the bar on everybody else,
are.
aren't they? Well, we talked about Golden Globe nominations last week here on Live at 4, and now it's time for the Grammys.
A UW-Madison professor has earned a nomination for the second time. We'll talk with him when Live at 4 continues.
2 Russian cosmonauts went on an exploratory spacewalk today.
They're doing surgery on a Soyuz ferry ship scheduled for return to Earth next week, and they were cutting away shielding and insulation to inspect the area where a small hole was found inside the spacecraft last August that apparently was deliberately drilled. The hole was plugged with cloth and epoxy, stopping a small leak that alerted the crew to a problem. They don't expect any issues when the spacecraft undocks and returns to Earth next Thursday, discarding the ship's upper orbital module where the hole is located before atmospheric entry. But they also hope to get some idea when the hole was drilled and who might be responsible.
Wow, that's pretty cool, isn't it? The stock market ended another seesaw day today, broadly mixed after a big rally in the morning gave way to a brief drop in the afternoon. The Dow dropped 53 points while the Nasdaq gained 11 and the S&P 500 lost a fraction. Queen's Bohemian Rhapsody is the world's most streamed song from the 20th century with more than 1.6 billion streams. It topped hits from Nirvana, Guns N' Roses, and a-ha more than 40 years after the single was recorded. It got a boost this year from the Freddie Mercury biopic, Bohemian Rhapsody. Queen was once again told the 6-minute operatic song would never sell. That's a big part of the movie. Have you seen the movie?
No.
Oh, I would highly recommend it. It's really good. A UW-Madison professor, speaking of music, has been nominated for a Grammy Award for the second time in 3 years.
Jim Leary is an emeritus professor of folklore and Scandinavian studies at the University of Wisconsin. The nomination is in the Best Album Notes category for Alpine Dreaming, the Helvetia, I hope I'm saying that right, record story, 1920 to 1924. And it's the same category, that Jim was nominated in 2015 for his work on folk songs of another America.
Jim, great to see you. Congratulations.
Yeah, it's a pleasure.
So you're kind of a big deal here. Come on.
Who knows?
Well, tell us a little bit about Alpine Dreaming.
Well, in the late 1890s, there was a Swiss immigrant who came to Monroe, Wisconsin, and had a little shop and began to import records and sell phonographs. And late in the teens, right around before 1920, he got the idea to start his own label, which was kind of nuts because there are no studios or pressing plants nearby, but he had a few networks. And in the early 20s, he's made some deals and sent musicians from Wisconsin out to New York to recording studios, and then recruited some from Swiss immigrants in New Jersey, and pretty soon they were putting out these 78 RPM records.
And the music was yodeling, or
a lot of it was yodeling. There were a couple of factory workers named Charles Schonenberger and Frau Schneckenbuhl.
Bless you.
and they were fantastic yodelers. And then there were instrumental musicians, like from my hometown in Rice Lake, there was a Swiss guy, Otto Rindlisbacher, who was an accordion player and played Ländlers and waltzes and sprightly Swiss Alpine tunes.
What does it feel like to be nominated for a second time?
Well, I'm kind of amazed. I didn't think lightning would strike the first time, but it has. So.
And you got beat out by, what is it, Joni Mitchell?
Joni Mitchell last time. This time there's someone who's doing the notes for a Bob Dylan bootleg series.
Oh yeah, no pressure. No pressure.
But to be in that company.
Well, it's nice.
Fantastic.
It's nice. And the other thing is there are a couple people in that category who are friends of mine too. So I'll get to hobnob with them and other musicians and writers out in LA, and that's a special thing.
We have a sample of the music to give people an idea of what we're talking about here. Let's take a listen. Feels like we're in New Glarus all of a sudden. So where did the content for this come from? From the Helvetia Records label?
They put out 18 78 RPM records We have 9 or 10 of them at the Mills Music Library at the University of Wisconsin, and then through a network with other collectors, and especially the producers of the label who specialize. Archaeophone Records specializes in like early 20th century recordings. So they knew people in up around Menasha and so forth whose houses are full of wild old records, and so we were able to make digital transfers and clean them up, and then I used all kinds of other sources to try to find out biographical and background information and come up with photos.
I was thinking, do we have some video? I think the last time we talked to you at the Mills Music Library.
Oh, right,
That is
right,
an
right.
amazing place on campus.
It is. It's astonishing.
Jim, what does the category Best Album Notes mean?
Well, usually it has to do with reissues of earlier recordings where you want some background and context. And in my case, this was a label that nobody knew about. These were performers that very few knew about. And then the songs are in 4 different languages. And so I had to work with people who knew all of those languages and dialectical nuances so we could write down the original lyrics, which are sometimes hard to hear on 100-year-old recordings, and then also do really nice English translations. So I coordinated all of that, and I did the background research and wrote the notes. And,
oh my gosh.
So
Isn't
that's
that
what
amazing?
people do.
Yes.
And before we go, we got to show the hardware.
You already, yes.
Oh, yeah.
You haven't won anything yet, but you got this, Tiffany's, I might say.
Yeah, they give the also-rans really nice medallions, and I got 2 kids, so I'll end up with 2 of these, and they won't have to fight.
This is great.
And they come in the blue Tiffany box.
Yeah.
Now, hopefully next time you come back with the big hardware.
Well, that would be nice.
That would
That would be nice. I think it's a long shot.
Well,
but,
congratulations.
thanks
Jim,
so
great
much.
to see you again.
Same
Congratulations.
to you. Yeah.
Enjoy the ceremony.
Thanks for having me. I will.
Well, she is considered Washington, D.C.'s famous centenarian who danced with the Obamas at the White House a few years ago.
At 109 years old, Virginia McLaurin is still dancing and sharing her pearls of wisdom with children in the D.C. area. We'll have that story a little later on Live at 4.
Take a look at this. Arizona sophomore Matthew Sabetta is super excited about his brand new yellow Tonka cement truck. Senior Jake Marr knows Matthew loves trucks and saved up money to surprise him with the special holiday gift at their Arizona high school.
He's my best friend. You don't have to go out and buy something for someone. It's just as simple as going out and be able to just at least talk to them, get to know them, be friends with them. That's all they want.
The special gift, an amazing reaction, is causing this video to go viral, and rightly so.
And this is what we call do something good, right, Charlotte?
That is prime example right there.
That's great. Today is December 11th. It is National App Day, celebrating all those little programs we have on our smartphones. App is short for software application. That was the word of the year in 2010.
2010.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
It is also National Noodle Ring Day, celebrating the pasta dish, which is formed in an 8 or 9 inch ring mold or bunt pan, usually made from noodles, flour, breadcrumbs, cheese, eggs, and other seasonings, and then removed from the mold and served on a plate, giving it an elegant appearance. I've never seen anything like that before.
Out of this world.
Is it really?
You've had this?
Oh, yes.
It doesn't
It's delicious.
look that. Okay, I trust you.
Well, I think we're going to have to go on Pinterest and build a new board.
Right. The noodle ring board. Figure out what that's about.
So we're keeping an eye on the weather. Things kind of heading south
A lot of people
here.
are talking about this.
Yes. So we do have a winter weather advisory that has been issued for all of southern Wisconsin for tomorrow morning, as we're expecting some icy roads to start off the day. We'll take a look at some timing and snowfall accumulations right after the break. I truly hope you've been able to enjoy the sunshine for the last few days, because as we get into tomorrow, Things are going to change up a little bit for the end of the week. We're looking at a mostly cloudy sky for our Wednesday. Also, this chance for some light snow and even freezing rainfall early in the morning and into the afternoon. So that's going to lead to some pretty slippery roads and travel conditions for us. So because of that, we do have an alert day in effect for Wednesday. Also, a winter weather advisory stretching all the way through southern Wisconsin, up into central Wisconsin, La Crosse included, to Milwaukee, down to Dubuque. That winter weather advisory goes into effect at 3 a.m. for us. It goes all the way until noon. That's our prime chunk of time that we're expecting this light snow to start to come in and then really phase out as it travels east. So that winter weather advisory is going to stay with us throughout the morning as we add a little more precip onto our December calendar. So far for the month, we've picked up just over a half of an inch of rain and just over a half of an inch officially of snowfall for us for December. Now, what the big picture here, of course, our year so far has been quite saturated. We're tied for second place right now with almost 50 inches of moisture falling in Madison. That's the same as 1884, the record for the most rainfall all the way back to 1881. We have quite a bit to go to break that record. Not saying it's impossible for us to do so during the course of December, but the rain that we are expecting and the snow we'll be seeing tomorrow and even the mixed potential for Thursday and Friday, not enough to help us get to that #1 spot, but still tied for #2 for us. Downtown right now, overall a fairly calm evening. Today we had a high of 33. Wasn't too bad outside, not too much of a breeze either. A little above average in those overnight temperatures, right where we should have been starting the day off at about 17 degrees. Close to 28 right now. We're going to continue to cool down, of course, overnight. The good news, though, we won't drop as much overnight because those clouds are really going to start to build in for us. Our breeze right now in the single digits. May see it pick up just a little more tonight as all that moisture slides on through. The good news, though, we are talking about the potential for a messy situation tomorrow. Our temperatures do continue to stay right above that average line. We'll continue to see temps in the mid to upper 30s. That's above average. Again, not too bad of a middle chunk of December for us. Tonight, overnight lows falling again just a few more degrees. 27 is what we're planning on to start off the day tomorrow. Definitely not as cold, and that mix is going to start to kick up for us early in the morning. The light snowfall may add up to about an inch. Temperatures tomorrow afternoon will get just above freezing, which actually isn't a good thing for us because that moisture could start to melt and then, of course, refreeze later on. So let's break down the timing for this with your future track. Right now, we have just a few clouds in the sky. Overnight, we will become mostly cloudy, and then we'll get close to about 4:30, 5 o'clock, and that's when the light snowfall is going to start to build in, of course, west to east, and we'll continue to see that light snow throughout the morning until about noon. That's when that winter weather advisory is going to expire for us. We may have a few lingering flurries later on in the evening, but most of that snowfall really clears out of here. Staying cloudy for us throughout the rest of the day. Thursday, we're planning on a cloudy sky as well, with the mixed potential possibly popping up for us. Snowfall totals stay under an inch, not a major accumulation event. It's just the timing of this in the morning that's the major concern here because that light snowfall really could make roads quite slippery outside. Major ice concerns, the good news, that's kind of trending on the downward side of things, just slippery because of the roadways. We may have a little bit of a concern if you get towards Grant County and your Platteville area. That's where the ice accumulation may start to build up early because they're going to start to see the snowfall earlier. So that alert day is just for Wednesday. We do have a chance for some snowfall and maybe even a little mixed potential for us later on in the evening on Thursday. Temperature-wise, notice, again, mid to upper 30s will stay there all the way into the weekend. Overnight temperatures also not dropping too low, so that trend of staying just a little warmer continuing on. We get sunshine for the weekend, the clouds and the rain chance just for the next few days. And then as we get into the start of next week, we do see a little bit of a cool down. A cooler trend starts to build back into the area, but that also is going to keep us nice and sunny. Our sunshine isn't going to go away. After a few sunny days, we can see a few clouds and then we get the sunshine back in the air again.
So Danica, Leah, and Hattie will be watching that tomorrow morning.
Absolutely.
For the morning commute. And among the people driving tomorrow will be you.
Yes, yes.
You've got a big road trip here.
I've got a long road trip back down south ahead of me. So
for a very special weekend.
Yes.
Tell everybody what's going on.
So this Saturday, I'm actually going to be getting married. Very excited. It's been a long year of planning for us. We decided to get married in Western North Carolina. It's a spot that we just love to vacation to. My fiance spent a lot of time there growing up, so to be able to travel back there, spend time with both of our families in the mountains is going to be a lot of fun.
Well, we can't wait to see the pictures, and we have a little something for you, your fiance Jerry, and Penny too, your dog, who's part of the family.
There you go. You don't need to open this now.
Don't put it on your wedding table.
Put it on the wedding table and know that it's from my wonderful News 3 family. So.
Admire the bow.
And the bow. The bow is beautiful. So I can put that with my veil, right? That would work.
You go. If you really wanted to.
Maybe not.
Maybe not.
Thanks for the fashion advice.
We're happy for you and excited for you too.
Thank you so much, guys. It's going to be a lot of fun. So, thank you.
All right, well, she became an instant internet sensation when her dance with President Obama and the First Lady went viral 3 years ago.
Now 109-year-old Virginia McLaurin is making headlines once again, getting into the holiday spirit today with some famous globe-trotting friends. Nicole Killian has the story from Washington.
At 109, Virginia McLaurin is still dancing. Wearing her Harlem Globetrotters jersey, the energetic centenarian showed off her basketball and singing skills at a D.C. charter school.
Globetrotters gonna shine all over the world.
And shared her words of wisdom with the children.
Be sure to listen to mother and dad and never get in trouble. Will you do that for me?
McLaurin stole hearts around the world on her 106th birthday.
So what's the secret to still dancing at 106?
After dancing with then President Obama and First Lady Michelle Obama in the Oval Office.
I didn't think I'd ever live to get in the White House. I was so happy I couldn't believe it at first.
Cameras have followed McLaurin ever since, capturing her at baseball games and in the privacy of her own home as she was issued a new photo ID from D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser.
Yes, we got it done.
McLaurin has been teaming up with the Globetrotters in recent years to help spread goodwill and holiday cheer.
We're going to give everybody in here, all the kids, a ticket to our game the day after Christmas.
She says she still finds time to volunteer at her age and shows no signs of slowing down. Nicole Killian for WISC News 3.
How's that for a little inspiration?
Amazing, amazing. Well, some top restaurant chains are serving antibiotic-free chicken, but that is not the case when it comes to beef.
Consumer Reports takes a look at which companies are doing their part to make sure that you're getting the best burger possible. We'll have the results next on Live at 4.
Here's a live look at the Capitol from our Edgewater Sky Cam, and it's starting to get dark, and it's still in the 4 o'clock hour.
Yep, lights are coming on.
Here we go. Well, many fast food restaurants have pledged to serve antibiotic-free chicken, but it is a different story when it comes to beef.
Leah Linscheid and Consumer Reports reveal which burger joints are beefing up their game to protect public health and which ones fall short.
For decades, antibiotics have been used on livestock and poultry to prevent disease and promote growth in crowded and unsanitary mass production facilities.
We have a crisis with resistance to antibiotics. Antibiotics are not working for people the way they used to. In fact, the Center for Disease Control has estimated that 23,000 people a year are dying from infections that should have been cured with antibiotics, but the drugs aren't working.
I think early on that the antibiotics were definitely overused, and I think the proof is in the pudding with the superbugs that have formed.
Fast food chains are among the largest meat buyers in the country, which means they can demand certain things from their suppliers, like pushing meat producers to use antibiotics responsibly.
The truth is, a chicken that's antibiotic-free, even if it's sick, is worth more than a healthy chicken that's been fed antibiotics, because they command a higher price if they're antibiotic-free. So,
in the fast food chains, which includes companies like McDonald's, there's been huge improvement in terms of getting the antibiotics out of chicken production. But the beef industry has lagged behind.
Out of 25 burger chains surveyed, 22 received an F grade for failing to make meaningful commitments to address antibiotic misuse in their beef supply chains. Those failing chains include Burger King, Sonic, and McDonald's, the largest purchaser of beef in the country. No burger chain got a grade in the B's or C's. Wendy's received a D- for making only a modest step in sourcing its beef. But 2 up-and-coming chains like Shake Shack and BurgerFi received an A grade for getting medically important antibiotics entirely out of their beef supply.
What this shows is it can be done. So we hope that the other companies in the industry will learn from their example and follow suit.
For WISC News 3, this is Leah Linscheid.
And in Consumer Reports survey, nearly 60% of people said that they would be more likely to eat at a restaurant that served meat without antibiotics.
Just ahead on Live at 4, Dina Fulton takes a look at your afternoon commute.
And Dr. Shyla Murgain is here today to talk about ways to take care of your mind, body, and spirit during these long Wisconsin winter days. Oh, she's brought some candles or some props. We like props. That's coming up next.
Well, taking a live look right now at 12, right at Park Street. A little bit of a delay, unfortunately, along the Beltline right now. Good news, not seeing any accidents, just the usual slowdown as far as traffic is concerned. Downtown doesn't look too bad right now, but if you look at the Beltline just west of Fish Hatchery Road, speeds look okay. Get a little closer, though. Speeds are reduced to near 20 miles per hour, plus or minus just a few between really Fish Hatchery and John Nolan Drive, and then you go a little further east, and the good news, traffic starts to clear out and pick up just a little bit. Checking back in on those drive times, 15 minutes for Verona Road to John Nolan, delayed quite a bit, but John Nolan to 90, again, things speed up quite a bit, and you're closer to a 5-minute drive time in that direction.
Well, many of us know Wisconsin winters can be challenging in more ways than one.
That's for sure. Creating coziness in your home is one of the best ways to nourish your mind, body, and spirit. UW distinguished psychologist Shyla Murgain is back with us today. Hi, Shyla. Welcome back.
Oh, thanks for having me. Happy holidays.
I'm a big believer in this. I was just going to say, Charlotte and I would probably sit here in our slippers if we could, right? To just be cozy, it makes you feel calmer. But this actually has origins in Europe, I understand.
It does, and I did bring, just to create some coziness in the studio, some blankets here for us. So if you want to kind of, get a little cozy here.
Thank you.
So I was born in the U.S., but I was raised from ages 6 to 12 in Holland, and there was a word called gezellig that has no direct English translation. The Danes actually have a word similar to it called hygge, which is H-Y-G-G-E, that was really trending. And it's really a feeling of coziness, of intimacy in the moment, where you're enjoying the simple, really good things in life with like-minded people. So it's that sense of contentment, contentment and well-being. And you know, the research shows the Danes actually in the 2018 happiness report were rated the second happiest country in the world. And they have terrible winters, really cold winters. And the Institute of Happiness in Copenhagen, the Happiness Research Institute in Copenhagen, said that it was this concept of kind of coziness that really was part of why the Danes are so happy, and I would say the same for the Dutch. So,
interesting.
Yeah, we can really cultivate that here in Wisconsin.
How can we do that? What are the simple things that we can do?
Yeah, kind of like we're doing here, we can create a cozy atmosphere in our home. We can have soft blankets that we nestle up in. I brought some candles and some little lights, twinkle lights, and so we can create lighting. We can bring soft textures in, or rugs. We can also bring in scents with aromatherapy, or even a little bit of nature with fresh flowers. You know, the Dutch do so well.
You brought some socks.
Yes, and then we can create coziness for ourselves. Some comfy socks. I brought a sweater I'd never be caught out dead in, but I'm in most evenings here. You know, those fleece-lined jeans that I think a lot of people use. So, you know, you can really get warm and cozy. Or even drink. I brought some tea, you know, some warm beverages, whether it's hot chocolate or tea. So, you know, create that environment for yourself. And it's really about nourishing. And
Can you talk about why that is so important to, you know, fulfill yourself as a person to do that?
Yeah, and I often say in the U.S. we're not very good at nourishing ourselves, and then we can't tell other people what we need for nourishment. So it's that way of giving to ourselves, tending to ourselves, taking time for ourselves. And I always say we work inward, outward. And if we're giving to ourselves in a way that really fills ourselves up, then we can create this coziness for others, you know, and that's often something that's really shared, bringing people into your home or going out and creating those moments of maybe good conversation or laughing or doing something creative or playing a board game that really fills you up.
Simple things, but it really has a profound impact, probably on stress, helps you exhale a little bit, maybe appreciate things a little bit better. I know you always talk about an attitude of gratitude and how that has significant health benefits.
Very much so, and I think it creates some inner warmth on those cold, dark days that we have ahead, and it's, you know, it's that way of really creating those experiences and memories that will last throughout the year, those really peak moments, whether it's just cooking a batch of stew that you're savoring with loved ones, or maybe watching a Netflix series and laughing. Or my favorite memory growing up was just sitting by the fireplace. We were all reading with holiday music, and my puppy and I, when I was a little girl, we were laying by the fire, and my parents and I turned to ourselves and we said, ah, this is gezellig. Oh, this is cozy.
Bliss.
So yeah.
Well,
So
thank you. Thanks for the blanket.
We feel great.
This
I
is
don't know
perfect.
if we could do the rest of the show like this. This is wonderful. Happy holidays, Shyla. Thank you so much. Great to see you.
thank you. You as well.
And we'll be right back. All right, all eyes on tomorrow.
Absolutely. So right now things are fairly calm, but we do have some clouds building on in for us over the next several hours. We're actually going to watch those clouds build in. It will be mostly cloudy by midnight with an alert day in the forecast for tomorrow. Expect snow in the morning, and that light snow could add up to an inch. We have a winter weather advisory in effect from 3 o'clock until noon. Because roads are going to be quite slippery in the morning as temperatures will be below freezing, and we'll be dealing with that moisture on the roads. Could be a little icky outside for us, so please be careful.
All right. Thank you, Dana. We'll be right back.